Actually, only 2 of you signed up. Where'd the rest of you come from?
You're supposed to sign up?
No, I don't. Do I look like I care? This is Florida.
Yeah, all right. Don't ask, don't tell.
That's right.
See that as a hand check. That's right.
And you can't put this under your Obamacare, so forget it. Good afternoon. Hopefully, I'm so glad I didn't get the 1 o'clock session because everybody was sleeping in Corey's. And that didn't work out too well in the beginning until he started talking about giving free stuff away, and then they all woke up. And there's no coffee, you bring your own. But anyway, by now you know who I am. I'm Mike Price. I'm the founder of Market US. 31 years ago this past August. Seems like yesterday. Obviously, we have to do the plug. This is the commercial portion of our program, today's sponsor. I want to ask a few questions with a show of hands. Anybody here, veteran? Got to have one, come on. Obviously, there's no women. Well, you could be woman-owned. There you go, see? You're not confused, are you? You really are woman-owned? Thank you. A, I have no filter. B, I don't believe in political correctness. I lived in Washington for 33 years, got smart in '03, came to Florida on vacation by boat, never left. The rest is, as they say, history. And yes, I did survive Irma. I sat on my balcony in the on top floor of my high-rise and watched the storm go one way, watched it go the other way because I faced north and didn't see a thing. Nothing. I mean, sitting out there, lit up a Cohiba and said, I wonder what the lightless people are doing. So, any Native Americans? And there's a reason I ask these questions. You know what HUBZone is? There he is.
I'm a Native American.
We'll talk about that later.
About the same black, but
What is it, HUBZone?
You can wash your feet. It's okay. HUBZone, historically underutilized business zone. And you go to SBA, you can read all about HUBZone. What it basically is think of the movie Deliverance, the backwoods of Tennessee where there's no business and you're from there, so you are a HUBZone. 8A, I'm assuming your nationality is not Irish? Okay, you might qualify for 8A. And the reason why I ask it is these are I hate to use the word entitlement, but these are helpers that, for example, if you're a woman-owned business, 23% of all government spending has to go to woman-owned business. Unfortunately, as a service-disabled Vietnam vet, we only get 5%. And
So we work together?
I was thinking about doing that, forget it. 8A is socioeconomic small and disadvantaged business. Typically, it's minorities. All you have to do, in fact, there was a guy in Maryland who, he was blind, well, probably still is. He was blind, white Caucasian, actually got his 8A certification because he could prove discrimination because he was blind. That quick. Anybody selling to the government now? At all?
On the list, but no luck yet.
What list?
In Texas, we're on the EBBL list.
Mm-hmm. You need to get with him in the back row later.
For the GSA, we're headed back.
Well, I'm going to tell you about that as one of the many ways of doing business with the government. Not usually I only specify GSA, but there's so many other opportunities also. So I've kind of tried to genericize what we're doing. But we can talk about GSA. I got 45 minutes to present a 8-hour normal presentation. So I'll pass through it. Raise your hand if you got a question or just interrupt me, it doesn't matter. Being on the list doesn't do anything for you.
Sure.
Now, everybody have a QR code reader on your phone?
You can get one.
I'm not going to be offended. Get one now because the last slide's going to give you the QR code for the slides and contact info. So whichever app store you're using. So if you're not selling to the government, obviously for you it's not profitable. First part of the agenda is who am I? I'm just an old guy that started this back in August 12th, 1986. Picked up the phone and made a phone call to a guy that was still popping pimples at his age, Michael Dell. And that's where it started. And actually have, was anybody here for the 1 o'clock session? Okay. Then Corey's sitting behind you in the back row, so he already told you a little bit about how he pulled off the Queensboro deal. And I'm sorry that a lot more of you didn't see that, but it was, I'll call it a coup. No, that was just taking out the big C is not a problem. I can show you how to do that all day long. You know, the C doesn't stand for Cisco, it stands for culture. Break the culture. Corey broke the culture. I've been doing it 31 years, and I think I got another 31 in me. That'll put me at 97. I can do it. My goal is 101. After that, I don't care. I'm going to throw acronyms at you that we're going to discuss. SAM, System for Award Management. You need to be on SAM. FBO is Fed Biz Ops. You want to have bids coming to you every day? Remember now, you're going to get the slides when you're done. So it's all, you'll see them and it's there. They'll be in a PDF so you can do whatever you want with them. FEMA. Now, if you live in Florida, that's a joke. FEMA actually started giving money away to Florida residents who were affected by not 1 but 3 hurricanes without power, you know, food spoiling and everything else. I missed that scam. Everybody knows who the SBA is? Has anybody ever tried to get any kind of funding or loan for your company? You don't have to raise your hand. I know it's embarrassing. No. I'm going to teach you all about SBA 7A program. Very important. They will give you up to 110% funding. I bought an office building with it in 1989. It was easy. Anybody, well, you're not doing business with the government. You doing any bidding at all for Texas?
Yes.
You're losing.
We're getting it, we're doing another subcontract through partners that are on the DIR list, which are already approved project bidders for those.
Mm-hmm.
We're walking it in as a sub.
There's 3 ways. We have developers here, which I didn't put on the slide. We have developers, we have resellers, manufacturers. Anybody outside that triad right there? If you're a developer, there's plenty of business in the government. I'm going to show you a slide that's going to prove that. I just did on Fed Biz Ops, I did search for voice over IP. I only did a screenshot of 5 of them. There were 51 total. I wasn't going to run slides on all 51 because it changes every day. This was done Sunday. So it's there. We actually have a tool that does a pricing analysis. Then we're going to talk about GSA a little bit, but I'm going to tell you, if you go get a GSA contract, you automatically have a Texas state contract, a CMAS in California, and Florida, and Virginia. Automatic. Your troubles are over, because now you're not giving away 15 to 30%. Now we're going to come right into teaming partners. And if you're going to do business with the government, you're required to accept credit cards for anything under $3,500. Why would you at 36 say, no, I can't take a credit card? You get paid in 2 days. You're paid. What is SAM? System for Award Management. If you're not familiar with it, by the way, everything you see, it's in red in a link, will be live on your PDF. It'll take you wherever you need to go. I took the extra time to do that. You're going to get emails. You're going to get phone calls. Well, we can help you with this. You know, aside from your warranty's about ready to expire. Oh, really? The car's got 6,000 miles on it. It's 8 months old. How can my warranty be expiring? So the Attorney General of Florida is going after them. There's a ton of scams charging you to do stuff that's free. Everything I'm telling you today is free. Makes you feel like a sailboater. Everything's free. Keep it up to date. Corey, where are we on ours? Okay. Just reminds me of this stuff when I'm looking at it. FedBiz Ops, or FBO it's called. This is where every current, past, future solicitation, usually when it goes over $25,000, has to be posted for open market procurement. Anybody see the movie War Dogs? That's FBO. That's FedBiz Ops right there. They made how many million doing that? Until they bought the Chinese ammo. Then the game was over. FedBiz Ops will make you rich, especially if you go after the crumbs. You stay down the low end, you know, $25,000, $50,000, $100,000. The big boys aren't going for that. It costs them too much money to make a bid, no bid decision. Take the little stuff under the radar, you can make a killing. Again, there are scams to help you with that. Well, for $200 a month, we'll send you all the bids. Enter your email address, pick what you want to have, agency or whatever, hit it. Every day in your inbox, you get email saying, the following solicitations are available for your review. Decide which one you want to bid on. But there's more. It's an excellent source for buyer information. Every one of those has full contact information on buyers. Not the user, the buyer. Once you got the buyer, you can get to the user. That buyer may be buying equipment, but sitting next to that buyer is the buyer that buys services, integration, equipment. So once you're in that procurement shop, you own it. How do you know where to go? This is the sheet I was telling you about. The search phrase was voice over IP, or VoIP. I just used the acronym. Second one up from the bottom, Avaya. Anybody here can probably take care of that one. That's HP, if I remember correctly. And they're not what I would consider cost effective. What about replace existing voice over IP service for the National Park Service? Now, the next one, and I was toying with putting it in there, the next one was for Homeland Security, TSA, Homeland Security. They're replacing a voice over IP system. There was 51 of these total. I pulled 4. Every day goes on. You can have every one of these emailed directly to you. Click on the link. It shows you everything about it. You can download the request. You got Department of Army, Veterans Affairs, number 2. And by the way, VA is using Cisco's. Because I was at my doctor's the other day and I grabbed it. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "You got to get that crap out of here. Let's get you something good." And of course, this will be on the internet, and I'll get a call from Cisco and saying, "Who do you think you are?" Say, "Well, I've been doing this long before you were born, so hang up and go home." We all know who the SBA is. Now we're coming right down your lane. Do you have everybody have a business plan? If you click on that, it's going to take you to the SBA, and they'll show you, they actually have hired somebody, I can't remember who it was, it's a 7-part industrial business plan if you're going to go out and look for investors. Not a loan, investors. Industrial. They have another one here, how to do business with the SBA, and we come right down your street, consider a 7A loan. You can get the whole package for a 7A loan with who the vendors are that do it. The SBA guarantees 20% of the loan. That's like going to buy a house with 20% down. Unless you got really bad credit, you'll get everything you need. How long you been doing what you're doing? Yeah, I think the cutoff is you have to be doing it more than 5. So you're good to go. Again, everything that's highlighted is a live link. FEMA, that's the biggest scam going on. How many of you live in Florida? You know where St. Pete is. They just sentenced, I can't remember the guy's name, they just sentenced him to 5 years in prison for this FEMA scam. U.S. Federal Contractor Registration. Ever heard of it? Probably gotten phone calls. It was in the news. In fact, the Attorney General wasn't even involved. It was the feds got him. He was impersonating, he was from FEMA, and we're only going to charge you $550 to do your one-page form, which you can fill it in 3 seconds, and you've now registered with FEMA. What for? If they need you, they call you. They send you an email, whatever. Hurricane Irma. Everybody that was FEMA was out doing their thing. I mean, they were bringing in, all types of vehicles and everything from all over the country. What people didn't understand, they said, well, yeah, Andrew was bad. Andrew was an amateur compared to Irma. The state of Florida is 120 miles across at its widest point and just under 300 miles long at its longest point. The storm was 500 miles wide. Almost hit Mexico. The good news is it hit Tampa. I moved here in '03. I was staying at Bahia Mar, where the Fort Lauderdale Boat Show is. In '04, we had 7 hurricanes. 3 of them came through right around us. I've had enough hurricanes. So everybody panics, and what are we going to do? 0 damage on the boat. Finally sold it for underuse. Everybody says, well, it's the second happiest day of your life. No. That was like getting rid of a kid. Too busy. This kind of stuff. Never got a chance to use it. 500-mile wide storm, which started out 300 miles across. Oh, we're going to Orlando. We're going to get away from this. Hello? In 12 hours, it's going to be on you. Where are you going to go from there? You can't go east. You can't go west. You go north, it's just chasing you. You got to get through the thing first.
No, you can beat Harvey.
Well, yeah. Or head the other way and catch Maria. So, anyway, FEMA is now part of Homeland Security. I mentioned NAICS code here, but I didn't. Let me see. Did I? No, I didn't. I didn't mark that. Well, hang on. Here it comes. The NAICS code. Those who've been around for a while, we had what was called SIC codes, Standard Industry Classification, North American NAI. Yeah, classification system. I mean, it's expanded from 4 to 6 characters. Some, I think, are even 7 by now. But everybody uses NAICS now. There's a link in here for it that lets you go through and pick what you've got. I told you about the pricing analysis. When in your case, state contract officers, buyers, whatever, when they're looking at pricing, they don't know whether it's good or bogus. And I'm going to stay strictly with GSA. And I'm going to give you a real live example. A particular product was $100 list. We had it listed for $50. A competitor had it listed for $25. Well, we know what the product costs, more than $25. Why was it listed at $25? Bait and switch. This is on a government contract. So I'm not happy with that, and it's my job to protect my client. So what did I do? I got a hold of the contracting officer, who I happen to know, and filed a protest. I said, make him prove it. Well, how do you know he's not telling the truth? Because I know what it costs. Then he realized, he said, oh yeah, you've been doing this a long time. I know what everything costs, all 70+ million products, not individually, but I know the category, pretty much what profitability is in all the products. Services, whole different ballgame. That's how we identify bogus pricing. So GSA issued a memo, they call it the 50-10 policy, and they said if you don't have your price list on gsaadvantage.gov, if you go, you'll see a link for GSA. Go look at the products and services on GSA. That'll give you an idea, how profitable you can be, or how much of a loss you could be doing business with the government. Now, this also, because we're in the IT arena here, this could also be state, local, municipal, and the ever-present college and universities. So which proved to be very profitable for someone sitting in the back row. Of course, he looks like he has a few less hairs now, but I lived through that with him. So GSA, that'll take you right to the GSA site. They're undergoing so many changes, and I told you about the 50-10 policy. Maybe a GSA contract isn't right for everybody. There are people who live under the radar and make a killing. But you're constantly bidding, bidding, bidding. You're winning one out of how many? 10, 20? But you're learning what not to do and where you need to be, so you're kind of getting an idea where the graph is on how to get in and start popping a few. All it takes is one nice one. And then he stops returning phone calls. Teaming partners, you're already in that. Hopefully you're not giving too much away. I know what the numbers are, but usually it's anywhere from 15 to 30% is what you have to give back to the person holding the contract for a management fee. They don't do anything. They just process the order. Thank you. On our site, you can read all about contractor teaming arrangements. Actually, go into the frequently asked questions while you're there. Type in anything, and I wish I could say that I was smart enough that I created them. They're taken from all the various different categories of questions throughout GSA and other areas of the government. They're the ones that did the answer. You can't tell me it's wrong. I didn't write it. They wrote it. So the bad news is on a contractor teaming arrangement is everybody that's on the team has to have a GSA contract because you're combining. So if you're doing product, you're doing service, and you come up with you sell some products that we need you to install it, you bring him with you, you're doing the product, he's doing the install, the service, then he goes back and does something else and says, we need more phones, he brings you back in, so the team is doing this back and forth, you're both making money. I wish I could say you're helping the government, but who cares? Credit cards. 70% or more of the people that are registered to do business with the government, federal, do not accept credit cards. And it's a requirement. The micro purchase threshold, where they can just give you a card for anything under $3,500 or less. They not supposed to do it a lot, but they do it. Credit card. When they first changed the policy on credit cards, I had a client that was in a hurry to get a contract before September 30th. I think we got it for him middle of August. He didn't accept credit cards. We got him set up. I had a guy who was attending some of my webinars, and you can find them all on YouTube, attending one of my webinars, and he said, do you have anybody that you work with, that credit card merchant? I said, no. I said, they're all a scam. Well, 1.65 by the time you're done, it's 4.5%. Card not present, government. Why would you surcharge a government purchase card? That's the most secure way of getting paid in the world. He said, because we don't do it because the government never does a chargeback. I learned something new. So we send people to him. I assume that everybody gets approved. My guy got approved, and within 48 hours, his first order by credit card was $700,000. He paid 2% discount, $14,000 on $700. Think he had any profit in that? This is the first credit card ever. Circa 1959 IBM. That black stuff on the top, that's mag tape and scotch tape. And I really like the issuing bank. There is none. It's in the mag tape. The only one that could read it was IBM's mag tape readers. And we all know the rest is history. Now we have Samsung Pay, imitation Apple Pay, native Android Pay, your Pay, my Pay, everybody's Pay. So we've come a long way. That's the very first ever credit card. And that's actually, the size of that's actually a business card. Just to give you an idea how small it is. What happens next? I already asked Corey, is your SAM up to date? Yes. There's your NAICS codes, there's your FBO. Capture any, even if you aren't doing business with the government now and you just want to kind of dabble a little bit, go to FBO and sign up. You only need your email address. Say, I want everything to do with VoIP services, and you'll start getting the flood coming in. Take a look at them. If you don't use it, don't delete it. Pull the contact information, create a database. You need that. One day you may. I mean, if anybody here got a $50,000 job out of, let's say, assume all developer services. If you got a $50,000 job, would that make you happy for a month? You probably wouldn't even do a month's worth of labor on it. Everything that everybody does in this room can be done with federal, state, local, municipal universities. Everything. That contact information, those of you that got your QR code, whenever you're ready, I'll give it to you. We've done all the questions. There you are. Feel free to scan. I've never tried a long distance scan. Tell me how it works. I think I made it big enough. Usually the screen's in the middle, so everybody runs up to the center of the stage and does it, but whatever makes it easy for you. Any questions anybody has? Doesn't matter whether it's on topic, off topic, it doesn't matter.
Using the code scanner,
Yeah, use your QR code.
So the big challenge I've had with government bids is just the sheer volume of information. I'm not in the telco business, so I'm going after a little bit of different stuff. But the bids we've seen, you as you point out, you could have somebody full time doing nothing but bids.
They have
and not win.
They have bid departments. I worked for Honeywell Federal Systems years ago in the 80s. We had a whole 6th floor with copiers, computers, secretaries, assistants, tech writers. That's all they did was look at everything that came in. What type of business are you doing?
Well, in the call center business. And a lot of times those things are so complex and long with very specific questions because they've hired some consultant who, gives them a book of information, half of which they don't even understand.
Well, even if they didn't hire the consultant, which is probably worse, they have no idea what they're buying anyway. So that's your job to get in there with a capability statement, capture the information. You're doing it off of FedBizOps?
I don't know what my team is using.
I don't know what, I know we have that SAM code, so I don't know what we'll have.
That's what's called your cage code? You have a
Yes.
cage code, you have your DUNS number, of course.
Right.
Everything pretty much based on DUNS. They're going to FBO, War Dogs. That's where they're going. They're going to that site. Tell them to capture that information and save it. You're going to use it again.
Right.
Because just because they put out a procurement doesn't mean to say it's going to get awarded. It could get canceled because nobody can fulfill the requirements because they have no idea what they're doing, which is probably better than 90% of all buyers that are out trying to buy this stuff have no clue what they're looking for. It's a wish list. It's fantasy based on the user says, well, I want it to do this, and then you've got to be able to do it in XML here, but then you got to convert it back to text. I was paying attention, and on and on and on. Nobody can do it. So they say, we'll have to cancel it. Or you're looking at that bid, he comes along and says, I got that one done. I got it on contract. We're done. Who's next? If somebody's got a contract for it, it takes precedence over you and I going bidding on it. But you have to save that contact information. It's imperative. You're going to use it. Any other questions?
I have a question. So you mentioned a couple of different programs out there. There was about a list of maybe 5 of them, of the different programs that they have for availability.
That's the FedBizOps.
Right. Are there some that, do they have analytics on the contracts, what's is awarded?
That was just VoIP. Yeah, the
Right.
analytics are there, but you can go to USA spending, Fed spending. Like I said, this is an 8-hour course that I condensed into 45 minutes. So yeah, you look at the bottom of any government website. It's got all USA spending, Fed spending. There's all kind of watchdog sites. Everybody's monitoring whatever's there. Yes, you can find statistics on any agency. You can go to Federal Procurement Data System, NG, Next Generation. You can generate a report and say, I want to know every dollar that was spent, anything related to IP phones, VoIP, whatever. You'll get a report, shows you who sold it, the total amount of business they did, and what their rank is for everything.
And so for the people that are awarded the contracts, is that published?
Yes.
The contact information for the people that are
Easy
are
way
actually
to
awarded
understand.
them.
Easy way to answer your own question. If you are awarded a contract with publicly obligated tax dollars, it's available free. Not even under a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act. You see that all the time in the news. We got this under Freedom of Information Act. All you do is ask the guy, would he give it to you? If it's publicly obligated tax dollars, it's available for anybody to view at no charge.
Awesome.
Now the question is, how greedy are you? He's smiling. He's saying pretty. And I wasn't saying I was pretty. He's saying I'm pretty greedy. I'm hoping that's what you were saying. Any other questions? Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark Price.